Okay, you've made the great decision to look for and purchase a Toyota Sequoia Gen 1, and now you don't know where to start. You are considering all the options in your area, you're looking distances you can travel, but what do you need to look for when you actually find a Sequoia that you're serious about, and you find a Sequoia that you want to spend your cold, hard dollars on? So I put together a few things that you can look for, that stuff that I've looked for and stuff that people in the Sequoia community have suggested. So hopefully this helps you out and you get the Sequoia of your dreams. First things first, you want to get under and look at the frame. The Toyota Sequoia, the first gens, had a batch of frames that were not correctly treated for rust preventative, and they had a recall on them, and the recall has since expired. So you're out of luck if your Toyota has any frame rust. No matter how good the body looks, no matter how good the interior looks, do not buy a Sequoia that has serious frame rust issues. A good indicator for prior maintenance on the vehicle is you want to open up the radiator cap, and you want to do all this before you test drive the vehicle. Make sure the vehicle's cold because you can't open this otherwise. But with the cold vehicle, open this up and check. Make sure that it's actually red Toyota coolant. You can see it's red in there. If it is, that's a good indication that the prior owner was willing to spend the extra money to go ahead and buy Toyota coolant, which is not cheap, and that's an indication that they were probably willing to go ahead and spend the extra money on other maintenance items and other things, other parts that the vehicle might have needed. Something else to note, this Denzo radiator here, that's the part number. Denzo is the same company that makes all these parts, or a lot of these parts, for Toyota itself. So a common issue is this radiator, this plastic on the top will start to dry rot and crack. And what happened to me recently, actually, that nipple snapped off and sprayed coolant everywhere. So that's why the engine bay looks kind of dusty. But if you look, just kind of take an eye, make sure that the plastic looks like it's in good shape and there's no dry rot. If it is, you can actually use that as a pretty good bargaining tool for yourself, because that's an expense you're going to have out of pocket. Also, if you look, one of the most important things to check is in this area. You can see one of the exposed bolts there and down there. That is the cover for the timing belt. And the timing belt is one of the top two most important things to look at: the frame rust and the timing belt. If you only had time to look at two items, those would be the first two items to check. So you want to take those bolts out and actually pry that plastic cover off of the engine and physically look at the timing belt. The Toyota maintenance timeline for the timing belt change is every 90,000 miles. Sometimes they have the original sticker. You can see I took mine off because that was a out-of-date timing change. They'll actually write down when it was done last, but you still want to take a look at it just so you know for yourself when the recent timing belt change was done, because if you have to do that shortly after you get the vehicle, it's going to be a pretty big expense out of your pocket. And if you do have to do that after you purchase the vehicle, that is the biggest bargaining tool you will have against the seller, because half of the Sequoias out there are put up on the market because it's time for the timing belt and they don't want to go through the expense, so they just put it up on the market for sale. Next, you want to start up the car, and you see these yellow lights up on the top right there. A lot of times these Sequoias have a traction control VSC issue. It's not the end of the world if those are on, but the check engine light might stay illuminated, and these two lights up here might stay illuminated as well. The vehicle can still function that way, but just know that is how your vehicle communicates to you if there's some issues with your O2 sensors or something along those lines. So you won't get notified if something else arises if those lights are constantly illuminated. Turn it off and start it back up for you so you can kind of see what they look like. See how they're yellow? You obviously want to look at your tire tread. All these things can be used as bargaining tools. And something that I noticed on a few of the Sequoias that I drove on the highway, highway speeds, it would start to shake, rattle, and roll, and that was due to U-joints that needed to be replaced. It's not a big deal, but the car felt like it was about to freaking fall apart on the highway. So it is a pain to get to one of the U-joints on these, but it's not a huge deal to change those out, but all this can be used as a bargaining tool. Some other things to check out is this back hatch handle. It's very common for these to break in here. These are plastic, and it's a pain to replace these if it's already broken. There's no handle on the inside of the door, so you actually, with the door closed, you're gonna have to like take off the interior of the door and get to the cable. Sometimes you can actually reach the cable through here and pry it open, but it's just a pain. So check those. They sell these metal replacement handles, which is what's on here. Somebody recently just decided to start making electric release latch for it, so maybe check that out as well. But yeah, definitely check this out before you purchase, because it's a pain to undo that. Also, another issue is this back window. A lot of times on used Sequoia won't roll down. There's a button on the key here. You see, you hold the bottom button, it rolls down. If you do that and nothing happens, there's a window brake somewhere on the inside of the door hatch right in here that sometimes is adjusted incorrectly and keeps the window locked up. So there's videos on YouTube showing you how to adjust that. You don't have to fully remove it to get it to work, but check that out as well. And a cool feature is you can stick your key in here, and you can roll your window up or roll your window down with the key. So yeah, there's my list of things to check if you're considering purchasing a Sequoia. I've had this since 2016. It's currently January 2021. I bought it with about 200,000 miles on it. It currently has about 272,000 miles on it. I hope to add a ton more miles, and I can't wait for all the adventures it brings. Hope that helped you guys just get a little bit more understanding of a few of the key items to look for when you're looking for a Sequoia. If you only had to take 2 things out of this list and absolutely check those out on the car you're looking for, check the frame rust. Number 1, absolutely all the time, always check the frame rust. And number 2, check when the last time the timing belt was done, and peek that plastic cover open and take a look at the actual timing belt, because sometimes they wear prematurely, sometimes they last a little bit longer than 90K. So you want to actually physically look at the timing belt and see how cracked it actually is, and how much time you might have before you have to do that service. So hope this helped you guys out. Again, thanks for the support. I appreciate it. Stay tuned. I'm going to be doing some overland build. I got a lot of stuff coming up here in the near future that I'm going to be putting on the Sequoia. So thanks a lot.